What's up, guys? Emster Knows Hoops back today with another video. Before getting into today's topic, I really want to thank you guys for all the love and support on the Brandon Miller video. When I'm recording this, we're at 630 subs, which is awesome. And we're almost at 2K views on the last video. So again, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's hit 650 by the end of February. And then I really want to get to 750. I'm really trying to hit 1K before the season ends, guys. And I know we can do it. So please, please, please support me. Let us grow. And don't forget to join the Discord. We're in there all the time talking hoops, watching games. So please join up in the description. Okay. Since it's All-Star break, this for me is like a little over the halfway point, and it's power ranking time. Now, I usually don't do this kind of thing, but I wanted to because I thought it'd be fun and sort of to come up with the criteria for how I determine it. So before getting into it, I'm going to give you just a little brief idea of the criteria. One, your regular season record. Obviously, you're not going to be barring like, okay, like if X team lost best player for 20 plus games. Okay, I can understand it. Prospect going into the playoffs is a part of it. Like, how well do I think that their regular season success can also translate to postseason success? And depending on the quality team, so if you're one of the more rebuilding teams, if you're actually making the moves in the right direction for a rebuild. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And today we are going to go from the top to the bottom. So coming up here at number 1, I have the Boston Celtics. I mean, guys, this team to me at this point, the way that everyone's playing and performing, they should win the East. Like, Milwaukee has their struggles. Embiid might be out for the rest of the year, so the Sixers, to me, are kind of cooked. New York could mess around, but even then, I feel like if everything's clicking, Milwaukee's the best team that has a chance to beat them. But, man, to me, this team should win the East. I do think they can lose, however, to my number 2, which is the Denver Nuggets. I mean, these guys are the defending champs. Jokic is, again, arguably MVP of the league again. Still doing what they do best. Jamal Murray's been healthy, relatively healthy throughout the year. MPJ's been good. The only thing I'm concerned with them is that the West has gotten a lot better. And there is a chance that some of these teams could mess around and upset them in the West, which is sort of what I guess is stopping me from having them over. I mean, again, it's just one spot. So let's not get into the whole debate of, well, Imps, why are the Nuggets one? It's one spot. Guys, it's one spot. Okay. Then at number 3, I have the LA Clippers. The Clippers, to me, are so good. And I have to walk this back, right? Because my last video on them was about how I wasn't sold on the James Harden trade. They had been struggling, and it looked like everything was falling apart. Now, my only concern with this team is postseason translation, not necessarily because of production. I'm concerned about how James Harden will play in these playoffs, and I'm concerned about the health of these players. This is a very injury-prone team, so it's kind of hard for me not to have that in the back of my head. And then coming into number 4 is the OKC Thunder. Now, this team, I think for me, postseason might come a little rough for them just because of lack of experience. But we also have to remember that this team going into this year did not have, we were hoping that they would be like the 7 seed. We were hoping they would be a play-in to just making the playoffs. They're a top seed in the West. Shea has taken the steps to be a legitimate superstar in this league. Chet is showing legitimate signs of being the big that they've always needed. And Jalen Williams is legitimately evolving to be a co-star to SGA. So to me, guys, I mean, all things considered, when you look at this team, it's hard for me not to put them in there. Now, at number 5, this is a bit of a rough sell, but I'm going to get into it a little bit later. I have the Milwaukee Bucks at 5th. Now, to me, them and the next team I have are very interchangeable. So if you say, oh, I think this team is better off of everything that you value, fair. To me, the Bucks have some issues. First of all, I still don't necessarily think that Doc Rivers was the best coaching move to hire. Dame, scoring-wise, if he can do what he's done in All-Star Weekend, maybe in a real game, the Bucks would probably be light years better. Giannis is still at MVP level. Arguably, to me, he might be the MVP. I mean, guys, this team is the second best team in the East to me. If they're clicking, that's the issue, right? So I guess we'll sort of wait and see. So then at number 6, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Again, another team that I didn't have very high expectations for coming into the season. Shattered it. I guess another part of the criteria is just the expectations and how well you do in response to them. Now, to me, my issue with the Timberwolves versus with the Bucks, I guess, is that I'm not concerned so much about the Bucks offense. I am concerned about when the Timberwolves get into a slower series, what that half-court offense could turn into, because it could get real slow and real predictable. However, this defense looks very legit and can translate to a playoff setting. Rudy Gobert by far has the best perimeter defenders he's ever had around him in his career, even though I get it, they have Cat. Jaden McDaniels alone is better than anyone they ever had in Utah. And when he's actually putting in the effort defensively, clearly better than anybody they had in Utah. They have a lot of guys that are willing to put in effort. So to me, this team is legit. Now, this is going to be a little weird, this next one, and we could talk about it. So I have the 76ers. Now, if it was when they were healthy, I would probably, honestly, maybe have them at 5, or I would just have them right above Minnesota. The issue is, and this is where I got a little torn, I guess, because it's like, okay, Embiid's for sure missing the rest of the regular season, and this team does not look the same without Embiid. But how do I power rank a team that part of it is based off of everything you have done? And when they were healthy, this team was looking legit. Maxi's a legit co-star. I'm not the biggest fans of all the trades they've made, but they're making some moves. Buddy Hield sort of helped step up for them. We'll get into where I think I might move them once we get into how everyone else is looking going forward. Because again, I mean, Daryl Morey's optimistic that Embiid might be back for the playoffs. But if I'm Philly and he's like 75%, I ain't taking the risk. I'm just being honest. Not taking the risk. Okay. Then at number 8, I have the New York Knicks. The Knicks, you guys, have something here. The front office is making incredible moves. Their only concern so far is health, getting it back together, right? But if we went off some of my criteria, playoff translation, all that, the 76ers might struggle to make the playoffs, right? So, okay, even if we do that. Then going in, I have the Cavs. Now, my one issue I have with the Cavs, even though I made a video and you guys loved it, my one concern, I mean this wholeheartedly, is that in the playoffs, if I'm an opposing team playing the Cavs, I'm just trapping Donovan Mitchell and making literally anybody else beat us. This is not to disrespect Darius Garland. This is not to disrespect Mobley or Allen. Mobley and Allen are still a little offensively limited to me. Allen for sure. Like Allen, as good as he's played, he needs the ball in a certain way or it is not going to work. Mobley showing flashes of like, okay, maybe the scoring's getting a little more diversified. He's, adding to his game. But if I'm an opposing team, to me, the game plan against the Cavs is so straightforward that it's hard for me to have them higher. Now, again, technically, if we're getting into where the 76ers are actually going to be, we can move the Cavs up or down. So with the 76ers, guys, take it with a grain of salt. It's all with the idea of going off of what they've been. But if we went off of, the future, they'd probably be much lower. Then I have the Phoenix Suns at 10. This team is starting to click too. They're starting to figure it out. And I was talking about this in the Discord with some of my buddies. If Phoenix makes the finals, I don't think there's a team in the East that can mess with them. And the reason I say that is because that means they figured it out on both ends of the floor. They will have figured out their defensive kinks because they will have run into offensive juggernauts. Most likely. They would have to most likely play a Clippers, a Nuggets. Those two teams alone offensively are some of the best in the league. So defensively, you're going to have to get a stop. And offensively, it means that you can outscore and you can outpace them. So for me, the Suns are there, right? Okay. Now, things are sort of all over the place now, right? Because the West is sort of moving and shifting. But coming in at 11, I have the Sacramento Kings. I think the Kings still have their flaw of not necessarily having the solidified third guy. Love Keegan Murray to death. Keegan Murray has been remarkable. Give it another year or two, and I think he's that piece. But something when you watch this team, no matter how fun or how good they are, it just feels like they're missing something. Maybe it's the third option. Excuse me. Maybe it's that defensive presence all around. But something just feels off. Okay. Coming in at number 12. This one's going to be a little tough. But I have the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, my one issue with this team, for me, is that even with how they've been playing, I just don't know if it's good enough. Like, to me, once we get past the top 10 / if there's a superstar quality player on your team, like the one coming up, those to me are all contender / dark horse guys. Like if everything clicks, they could go on the run and win the chip. New Orleans, my issue with New Orleans is we've never seen this team in the playoffs fully healthy, right? So it's hard for me to go, how will this translate? But then coming in at number 13, I have the Dallas Mavericks. And I think I'm going to call an audible, to be 100% honest with you guys. I think I'm going to put Dallas at 11. Luka, if this team makes it to the 5 seed, he's MVP. I don't think it's a discussion. Kyrie's been hurt for a while, but I love their pickup of Gafford and PJ Washington. They just look so much better. Like, this is an actually competent roster around Luka, especially with Kyrie. This team can make noise in the playoffs. Legitimate noise. Now, I don't think they would come out of the West, but if they ended up playing like the Timberwolves, I'm going to be honest, there's a chance that Dallas has the team firepower build to beat them. Or, okay, so they just have that kind of squad. So, to me, they're a very dangerous team. Then, after that, part of it is playoff translation. Part of it is what we're seeing now. My thing is, it's the Miami Heat. And they're another team I think I'm going to move above the Pelicans. The Heat are starting to click again. They're getting healthy. I mean, they just whooped the Bucks a couple days ago. Or like a week ago now. They're getting good wins off. And this team in the playoffs is always going to be deadly. In some sense, that's just how they are. You can't ever write them out. But I have to go into account that their regular season has been shaky and all over the place. But I trust their playoff translation more than I do a team like the Pelicans. Then I have the Indiana Pacers at 15. For a rebuilding team, this is a beautiful season. You got Pascal Siakam, who's been playing really well for you. All-star and Tyrese Halliburton. You're actually in the playoffs, or at least fighting for a playoff spot. You're making the right steps to go forward. Then I have the Orlando Magic. Basically the same thing as the Pacers, except they came down to earth rather quick. I think at times their thing is offense has kind of got to get better at figuring out who exactly their guard is. Okay. Then if we're going off expectations, this is where I have the LA Lakers. This, to me, is extremely disappointing. Now, do I think LA can translate better in the playoffs than most of the teams above them? Absolutely. Because they have AD and LeBron. But at the same time, this team struggles so often that it's hard for me to sit here and say, let's say Denver ends up the 2 seed and LA ends up the 7th seed. I am not picking the Lakers. I'm sorry, I'm not. To me, the Lakers need a very specific path to make a deep run. They would like to play in OKC or Kings. They do not want a Timberwolves. Now, the reason I say they don't want a Timberwolves is the Timberwolves also have size. So the Lakers can't really go small ball on them. So Rudy is still going to be extremely valuable. And at that point, things kind of change. Then I have the Golden State Warriors. They're clicking, made a video on it. You guys loved and supported it. They're showing signs that they're turning it around. And they're like the Lakers. It's hard for me to bet against Steph Curry doing something incredible when you need him the most. Then I'm sort of going to go in bunches here, guys. But I want to go with the Rockets and the Jazz. The Rockets exceeded my expectations. To be 100% honest, I didn't know if this team was going to... I mean, obviously, I knew they were going to get more wins than they have in the last couple of years. But Ime Udoka's really helped coach this team. Şengün really has the reins. Part of the thing kind of holding me back is Jalen Green is clearly not... I don't know. To me, there's something... I don't know what it is with Jalen Green, but something's off. Okay. The Jazz, love they got rid of Kelly Olynyk for a first-round pick. I mean, to me, I like that they got Keontae George. I really hope they get... I think it's Taylor Hendricks. They get more burn on some of these young guys. Laurie is still incredible. So to me, they either got to commit to trading him and going full rebuild, or you got to pay him and figure something out quick. Okay. Then I have my Chicago Bulls. We're mid. We should not have the team that we have. We should have blown it up already a long time ago. I don't even want to waste my breath on it. The Hawks. You have Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, and I believe have a worse record than the Bulls. And man, at some point, they got to figure out what they got to commit to, because this is not working. Whether it's DeJounte's fault, Trae's fault, whatever it is, it's not working. Then I have Memphis. Now, Memphis to me has one huge positive. You found a lot of young players, and you can sift through the ones that you don't need. Now they know they have a special, upside in Gigi Jackson. I believe it's Vincent Jackson. He's also been Vince Williams. My apologies. Vince Williams Jr. has been really good for them as well. They're finding some young pieces that are good off the bench. Huge. Then I have Portland, and I have the Spurs. I lied. I'm going to go the Spurs and then the Hornets. They each, in their draft, with their top pick, have a clear idea of where they're going. Now, is Brandon Miller the guy for Charlotte? That's a whole different conversation. But he's a cornerstone of that franchise now. Victor is the guy. He's been hooping lately. And they're finally starting to kind of build some form of momentum. Awesome. Then I have the Trailblazers. They're showing signs that they've got something there. You still have Simons. You still have Sharp. You still have Scoot trying to put it together. Okay. Toronto and Brooklyn are in the same idea of, I don't know why they gave up a first-round pick for someone like Kelly Olynyk. I thought you were blowing it up. Now you're giving away assets when you should be holding on to them. Brooklyn just fired Jacques Vaughn, actually, as I'm recording this video. To me, Brooklyn needs to commit to a rebuild. Then I have Washington. Shout out to Bilal Coulibaly. Really solid player for them. I don't know what the hell Kuzma's talking about now, not wanting to get traded in time. Okay, buddy. And Jordan Poole experiment is not working. And then Detroit. They've been solid recently, right? They've actually gotten wins. But I believe they broke or tied the NBA record for losses in a row. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys agreeing? Disagreeing? What do you think? Do you think the Sixers should be lower and, move everybody sort of up one because, they might be out for the year? And let me know, do you agree Boston's one, or do you sort of go with the idea that number one's always the defending champ until they lose in the playoffs? Let me know what you guys think down below. As always, this was Mr. Nose Hoops. Have a beautiful rest of your day, guys. Peace out.